Let's fix. Do mic check. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Hello? Check. That better? Great. Everybody hear me?
And marker. Growing up, one of the most influential people in my life was my grandpa. Yeah. Sentimental and cheesy, but it's true. He always had these sayings and quips and a lot of puns. But one thing he would frequently say to me was actually a Winnie the Pooh reference. He would always ask me, Tony, did you ever stop to think and forget to start again? He would always say it in that, like, sing-songy voice.
I haven't thought of anything, have you? No, neither have I.
He actually still asks me that to this day. I think that question always resonated with me because that is one of the many things that we have in common. We're both creative types who are wired in such a way that we constantly have a million different ideas, all fighting for attention at the same time. I found it so overwhelming to facilitate the best way to pick which idea to grab and decide what the best process is to nurture that idea into the best thing it can be. And that is when I stop to think and I get caught in analysis paralysis.
Think.
I heard that term in a Thomas Frank video, and I forget exactly which one it was in, but from the moment I heard it, I knew that was just a perfect little nugget of a phrase to describe this form of creative stifling. A lot of people have their own form of analysis paralysis, so I figured I might as well describe how my own form of it manifests.
We all right?
To see all the possible outcomes.
I haven't necessarily felt this form of overanalysis affect my ability to work on projects other than my own. This actually came to my attention specifically when I was working on a musical written by a dear friend of mine, and I got to rehearsal super early, so we were just sitting there. And he made a point to say, you know, whenever you're brought onto a project, you're always super quick to learn your material. You're at rehearsal very early, and you're always just focused and ready to, work. However, whenever it comes to your own personal projects, they always seem to end up getting left on the back burner, sort of slowly developing, but you just don't seem to have that same kind of vigorous focus to get them finished. And he's absolutely right. I think a major contributing factor is the fact that there are so many limitations when you're working on someone else's piece. And in this case, limitations are a wonderful thing. For instance, if you're given a song that you need to perform, it's very clear. You gotta learn the piece, be able to perform it by a specific point in time, and then within those boundaries, use your specific voice within those limitations. But when it's your own work, you're in complete control of the deadlines and the process, and that's when I stop to think and I get overwhelmed. And that's when I fail to be as accountable to my own ideas and projects as I am to the works of others. I mean, after all, what I get caught up in is the idea that this is all in my control. So on one hand, if I don't give myself enough time to develop this idea or this project and really flesh it out, I'm squashing its potential to be the best version of itself. Versus what I tend to default to on the other side of the spectrum is that I'm not strict enough with myself. And so I sort of keep these ideas in like nitpick purgatory to just sort of be tinkered with until the end of time, never seeing the light of day. And that's a terrible fate for any idea, whether it's the greatest idea ever or even if it's just okay. So I had been caught, and I still get caught in that mindset. But one thing that sort of started to shake me out of that was meeting someone on tour. I was on tour a year ago with a wonderful guy and amazing drummer named Drew Bastian. While we were in rehearsals and on tour, he was doing this challenge on Instagram called 100 Days of Practice, where for 100 days consecutively, post a little clip of yourself practicing every single day. And he managed to do it, even when we were on tour, even when we were in the middle of nowhere. And even if he didn't have access to his instrument, if there wasn't a drum that he had access to, he'd just take a practice pad to the back of the tour bus and do his, I don't know drum things, but whatever little exercises, little paradiddles on his practice pad in the back of the bus if he had to. He would always, make time for that. I did it for 1 second and then I dropped it. So I figured once I got back from tour, I had no reason to not do something like that. And so I had been wanting to be a little bit more diligent about practicing piano. And earlier this year, I actually managed to do it. 100 days in a row, practicing piano and putting a little clip of it up on Instagram on my story every single day. And aside from the benefits of practicing every single day, which, that's a whole other video, of course, it was so weirdly fulfilling to have something to just throw up on Instagram every single day for 100 days, and something that I didn't have any room to overthink. You just set up a camera and, record your practice session, find a 10-second clip, a thing to share and put out into the world every single day without the, hyper-focused intent of doing it right. Or, that didn't matter. As long as I did it, it was done. Simple as that. So since then, I've really been trying to apply that mindset to all of those other ideas for the most part. I know there's some ideas that shouldn't be streamlined or, deserve a longer gestation period. You keep those simmering on the stovetop. That's fine. I just think it's important to not be so consumed by that process that it stops you from using your voice and creating things in the short term. I mean, even posting this falls into that mindset. I had something I wanted to say, and I drafted, a script. I grabbed a camera, threw some lights around, and in theory, if you're watching this, I did it. I made a thing. Cool. I mean, honestly, this thing might sound like I'm trying to give advice, which if other people get something from this, cool. This honestly just sort of came from a place of, this is something that's been on my heart. I think this is a format I can use to express that. And I'm probably going to watch this video myself. So half of the views down there are me. A quarter of them are probably my mom. And then maybe some other people will watch it. That's fine. Cool. And I know for some of us, it's maybe not as simple as stating that you're going to just do it! Especially for those of us who are more prone to anxiety and dealing with our own analysis paralysis. For those of us who are prone to anxiety. Am I stressed talking about anxiety? But even when we find ourselves trapped and overwhelmed, I just hope that we never lose sight of continually trying and failing, but then continuing to try to find the methods and outlets that are able to free us up to use our creative voice. And I wish this was the point in the video that I could say, and so, using these techniques, I'm done this! Insert thing here. Yeah, that's not this video. I just had a thing I wanted to share, and a thing I wanted to say in a vlog. Simple as that. No bigger, that's the thing I would get trapped in, a bigger concept. Wow, this is the first part of a 12-part series that I'm releasing over the next few months. No, that's the whole point of this video. This is just a thing. This is an idea I had. I've never done a vlog before. This is a fun format I've always wanted to try. This might be the only vlog I ever do. Maybe I'll just do other stuff. Or maybe I'll do more of these. Who knows? That's not the point of this. Here's hoping I can announce something soon. But before doing that, I need to stop and think for a second and sort of decide which project I should announce first. But then as I'm getting ready to announce that project, I'll start feeling guilty that I'm not working on another project. And so I'll sort of try to split my focus between the two. But then I'll be stressing out because I'm not giving enough focus to any individual project. So then I'm just going to bail and do a third project. But then I got 3 projects going at once, and that's really bad. And so I'm just going to freak out, and you might never hear from me again. But hopefully you will. Here's hoping. I guess that's a thing. I made it. Cool. using this mentality, I made this. Insert video series, remember when I started a podcast and then I went on tour and I was like, I can keep this up on tour. That didn't happen. It was not a realistic expectation in the least.
Think.